Title: White Silence. Chapter 1. The Decision. The decision to move to Alaska was not sudden. It grew slowly, like a thought that refused to leave. Daniel felt trapped in routine and noise. New York suffocated him. Emily wanted quiet for the children, a place where time moved slower, where nature felt honest. They sold the house faster than expected. Friends called them brave, some called them reckless. Daniel ignored both. He believed distance could fix exhaustion, fix marriage, fix himself. The children were curious. Lucas pretended excitement. Anna asked endless questions. Maps spread across the table. White space dominated them. The absence felt peaceful. They didn't research enough. They didn't ask the right people. They believed isolation meant freedom. They confused silence with safety. Winter wasn't discussed seriously. Neither was darkness. Alaska felt like an escape, not a confrontation. They packed memories carefully and left the rest behind. Chapter 2. Arrival. The town welcomed them politely, not warmly. People nodded more than they spoke. Snow covered everything uniformly. The house stood at the edge of the forest, older than Daniel expected. Wood groaned constantly. The realtor left quickly. Cell signal faded inside. Internet arrived late. Electricity flickered. Emily smiled anyway. The air felt heavy but clean. Lucas explored silently. Anna stayed close to her mother. The forest loomed behind the house. Dark even during the afternoon. Locals avoided mentioning it. They talked about weather instead, always the weather. Daniel felt watched briefly, dismissed it as nerves. Night came early, earlier than expected. The silence wasn't empty. It pressed inward. Snow muffled sound unnaturally. Even footsteps vanished quickly. Emily locked the door twice. No one commented. Chapter 3. The first night's sleep came unevenly. The house clicked and shifted. Pipes screamed without warning. Wind scraped the walls. Daniel woke repeatedly. He checked windows, locks. Nothing wrong. Emily dreamed restlessly. She whispered names, not theirs. Lucas stayed awake intentionally, listening. Anna cried softly near dawn. She said the forest was breathing. Daniel laughed it off, too quickly. Morning light arrived weak, grey and distant. Time felt distorted. Breakfast tasted muted. Coffee cooled instantly. Daniel stepped outside. The cold stunned him, painful and sharp. The forest absorbed sound. His breath echoed oddly. For a moment he felt small, not insignificant. Observed. He went back inside silently. Chapter 4. Adjustment days blurred together. Snow fell endlessly. Roads closed often. School was postponed repeatedly. Emily grew restless. Daniel busied himself fixing the house. Small repairs multiplied. Nothing stayed fixed. Lucas stopped asking about friends. Anna stopped drawing people. Only trees. Always trees. The locals watched from a distance. helpful when necessary, absent otherwise. Conversation ended abruptly, especially about the forest. Daniel noticed strange paths. They changed overnight. Snow hid footprints, sometimes too perfectly. Emily heard voices once, dismissed it immediately. They blamed isolation, cold, adjustment stress. They never blamed the land. That came later, much later. Chapter 5. The Storm. The storm arrived without warning. Wind screamed relentlessly. Power failed instantly. Darkness swallowed the house. Snow blocked all exits. Phones showed no signal. Radio transmitted only static. The temperature dropped rapidly. Emily wrapped the children tightly. Daniel tried the generator. It failed. The house groaned violently. Trees cracked nearby. Something hit the roof. Once, twice. Lucas swore he saw movement outside. Daniel told him to stop. Anna shook uncontrollably. The storm lasted longer than expected, longer than forecasted, longer than reasonable. When it finally passed, the forest stood unchanged, untouched. The house was damaged, but intact. No tracks surrounded it, no signs of animals. Only silence remained. Chapter 6. After the storm. The morning after the storm felt wrong. Not damaged. Wrong. Snow reflected light unnaturally. The air carried no scent. Daniel shoveled the entrance alone. His breath echoed strangely. The road had vanished completely. No tire tracks, no plough marks, as if the town had moved. Emily tried calling for help. No signal returned. The radio worked briefly, only fragments of voices, none coherent. Lucas walked the perimeter. He found footprints, not human, not animal. They ended abruptly. Anna refused to leave the house. She said the trees leaned closer. Daniel argued, loudly. The forest did not respond, but the silence deepened. Time dragged unevenly. Evening arrived too fast, and no one slept well. Chapter 7. The Neighbors. A truck arrived near dusk. Three men stepped out. They didn't introduce themselves. They asked simple questions. Too simple. Did the family need supplies? Was the house damaged? Daniel answered politely. Emily watched carefully. The men avoided the forest edge. Their eyes never drifted there. They left food and fuel, refused payment, refused thanks. Before leaving, one man spoke quietly. Don't follow the trees. No explanation followed. The truck disappeared fast. No tracks remained. Emily replayed the words repeatedly. Lucas asked questions. Daniel shut him down. Fear spreads quickly, he said, but his hands shook. Anna stared at the window. She waved once, as if someone had waved first. No one was there. The night arrived heavily, too close. Chapter 8. Shifts. The house changed subtly. Doors creaked differently. Hallways felt longer. Mirrors reflected late. Emily noticed objects moved. Daniel denied it. Lucas felt watched constantly. Anna stopped speaking during meals. The forest creaked rhythmically. Not wind, timing, patterns. Snow fell without clouds, the sun hung low, barely moved. Time distorted inside the house. Clocks disagreed, phones drained rapidly. Daniel attempted repairs obsessively. Fixing gave him purpose. The generator worked briefly, then stopped permanently. That night, footsteps circled the house, slow, deliberate. Daniel opened the door. Nothing stood there, but the snow was smooth, too smooth, like untouched skin. Chapter 9. Lucas. Lucas began wandering. At first, only near the house, then farther. Emily noticed too late. He returned smelling of pine and metal. He spoke less. His eyes followed movement in trees. He sketched symbols, not pictures. Daniel confronted him. Lucas denied everything. That night, Lucas didn't come to bed. Emily found his room empty, the window open, snow untouched beneath. Panic erupted instantly. Daniel searched outside, shouting. His voice died quickly. Lucas appeared at dawn, standing near the tree line, unharmed. Unchanged, but distant. He didn't remember leaving. He didn't remember the forest. He remembered listening and waiting. Chapter 10. No Return. The family tried to leave. The truck failed immediately. Fuel frozen, battery dead, roads gone, maps useless, GPS spun endlessly. Emily cried openly now. Daniel shouted into the woods, demanding answers. Nothing responded. The forest absorbed sound. Snow fell again, heavier, thicker. The town did not answer calls. No lights visible, no smoke. No movement. Anna whispered constantly. Daniel finally listened. She said the forest knew them, not individually, as a family. It watched how they broke and how they held. Leaving was no longer an option. The house was not shelter. It was part of it. And winter had just begun. Chapter 11. Emily's reflection. Emily stopped trusting mirrors. Her reflection lingered, blinking late, smiling incorrectly. She tested it repeatedly, movement delayed by seconds, sometimes more. She avoided looking directly. When she did, her chest tightened. The reflection looked tired, older, colder. At night she heard whispers. They came from reflective surfaces, windows, metal, ice, always her voice, but saying things she never thought. Regret, blame, guilt. She covered every mirror. The house felt darker immediately, heavier, as if something was displeased. The whispers grew louder, closer, from inside the walls. Emily stopped sleeping entirely. Fear sharpened her senses. And dulled her hope. Chapter 12. Daniel's duty. Daniel became obsessed with routine. Schedules gave him control. Morning checks, inventory lists, repairs that led nowhere. He refused to acknowledge fear. Fear meant failure. Failure meant loss. He patrolled the house daily, marked distances, counted steps. They changed subtly, never the same twice. Daniel blamed exhaustion. But the walls breathed at night, barely, enough to feel. He heard a voice once, low, firm, promising stability. If he stayed alert, if he protected them, the voice sounded like himself, stronger, more confident. Daniel welcomed it, didn't question it. Control returned briefly, at a cost he didn't see yet. Chapter 13. Anna's Game. Anna created a game. She called it listening. Rules were simple. Sit still, close eyes, count breaths, wait. She played alone, for hours. Emily tried to stop her. Anna cried hysterically, said the forest would be angry. That night, branches scraped the roof, rhythmic. Intentional. Daniel allowed the game to continue, anything to keep peace. Anna smiled more afterward. She spoke softly, politely, too politely. She knew things, when storms would come, when snow would fall, when silence would hurt. She corrected her parents, gently, as if teaching children. Anna stopped fearing the forest. She called it patient. And patience, she said, always wins. Chapter 14. The Town That Wasn't. Daniel reached the town alone. It took hours, then minutes, then moments. Time folded poorly there. Buildings stood intact but empty, doors open, tables set, food untouched, frozen mid-use, no bodies, no struggle. Daniel felt watched constantly, not hunted, observed, as a test. He found a journal, written by many hands, same warning repeated: do not stay together, do not listen alone, do not accept gifts. Daniel ran back home. Panic overtook discipline. The house appeared suddenly, too suddenly. Emily knew immediately something had followed him. Something learned him, and something stayed. Chapter 15. The Choice. The forest spoke clearly that night, not aloud, within. Each family member heard it differently. Emily heard comfort, an end to fear. Daniel heard purpose, a role. Anna heard belonging. Lucas heard silence, true silence, the kind that answers everything. The house shook gently, as if breathing deeply. Snow stopped falling. Stars emerged unnaturally bright. The forest waited, no pressure, no threat, only invitation. Emily cried. Daniel stood still. Anna smiled knowingly. Lucas stepped toward the door. Daniel grabbed him. The forest responded instantly. Branches twisted, walls groaned. The choice was immediate now, together or apart. And winter was listening. Chapter 16. Separation. Morning arrived without sunrise. Light existed but no source. Daniel insisted on separation. Short periods, controlled, measured. The journal warned against unity, or so he believed. Emily stayed inside. Enna sat near the trees. Lucas wandered the perimeter. Daniel patrolled between them. At first nothing happened. Silence held. Then distances shifted. Daniel walked minutes between points, then hours, then seconds. Emily screamed once. Daniel ran. He arrived immediately. Too immediately. Anna laughed softly outside. She said the forest liked the experiment. Lucas didn't return that evening. No panic came, only certainty. Lucas was not lost. He was placed. Daniel understood too late. Separation was not protection, it was permission. Chapter 17. Lucas listens. Lucas stood among the trees willingly. They did not touch him. They leaned. They listened back. The forest did not speak words. It shared weight, time, memory. Lucas felt childhood fade gently. Fear loosened its grip. He understood the patience of snow, the permanence of roots, the honesty of stillness. The forest showed him others, families, travelers, all waiting quietly, preserved, not dead, not alive, held. Lucas accepted without struggle. When he turned back, the house looked small, fragile, temporary. He felt no anger, only distance. The forest welcomed that. It stepped back slightly, allowing choice. Lucas chose silence. Chapter 18. Emily breaks. Emily felt absence like pressure, not grief, removal, as if something essential was edited out. She confronted Daniel, demanded answers. He had none left. Mirrors began uncovering themselves. Cloths slid away overnight. Emily saw her reflection clearly now. It did not delay any more. It watched, it smiled first, spoke softly, told her she was tired. That fear was learned, that release was natural. Emily screamed until her throat failed. The reflection remained calm, patient. Emily smashed the mirror. The sound echoed endlessly, but nothing shattered. The glass healed itself. Her reflection touched the surface. From the other side, Emily backed away slowly, knowing something had crossed. And something had replaced her. Chapter 19. Daniel's Role. Daniel understood his function at last. Not protector, not leader, witness. The forest needed witnesses, people who remembered before. He began documenting changes, writing compulsively, distances, voices, behavior. The house stopped resisting, it settled, becoming wood again. Anna guided Daniel gently, corrected his notes, improved his accuracy. She spoke of cycles, families that fed understanding, others that fed growth. Daniel asked where Emily was. Anna tilted her head, said Emily was resting, learning stillness. Daniel felt relief and horror simultaneously. He wrote that down. The forest approved. Silence deepened warmly. Daniel stopped thinking of escape. That too was written. Chapter 20. Winter's End. Winter ended without thaw. Snow simply stopped mattering. Cold became irrelevant. The forest expanded inward, not outward, claiming space between moments. Emily no longer screamed. Lucas no longer waited. Anna no longer needed games. Daniel finished the journal, placed it carefully beneath a tree. Roots accepted it eagerly. The house faded, board by board, memory by memory. Daniel stood at the edge. The forest offered nothing now, no invitation, no resistance, only certainty. He stepped forward willingly, not in fear, in understanding. The forest closed gently behind him. Snow fell once more, soft, patient, complete, and no path led back. Chapter 21. The empty coordinates. The coordinates still existed. Maps showed the location clearly. Researchers arrived months later. They found snow, trees, silence. No house, no road, no debris. Satellite images conflicted. Some showed a cabin. Others showed forest only. Ground-penetrating radar detected nothing. Soil samples appeared normal. Too normal. No disturbances, no decay, no foundations. As if nothing had ever been built. One researcher swore he heard breathing. Another felt watched constantly. Equipment malfunctioned overnight. Compasses spun slowly, then stopped. They marked the site unstable, quarantined it briefly. Funding disappeared quietly. Official reports cited environmental loss. No family was listed missing, only relocated. No one questioned the wording. The forest did not correct it. Chapter 22. The journal surfaces. The journal appeared a year later, found beneath a tree root, perfectly preserved, ink untouched, paper warm. It contained meticulous notes, distances that didn't match physics, dates that repeated, events that hadn't occurred yet. Researchers dismissed it as delusion, but patterns emerged. Predictions came true. Storms, disappearances, road closures. The final pages were calm, almost peaceful, descriptions of acceptance, of purpose, of silence as structure. The last sentence repeated, written carefully. This is not an ending. The journal stopped there. No signature, no farewell. The tree it came from no longer existed. Roots showed no break. The journal was archived, then misplaced. No one admitted losing it. The forest did not retrieve it. Chapter 23. Anna's voice. A ranger heard a child singing, near dusk, near the restricted zone. The song was old, a lullaby. He followed it briefly. The forest opened slightly, not visually, conceptually. He felt welcomed, then corrected himself. Fear snapped him back. The song stopped immediately. He returned, shaken. Recorded the incident. Audio equipment captured nothing, yet analysis showed faint harmonics. Human, but layered, as if many voices shared one tone. The ranger resigned weeks later, moved south, avoided trees entirely. He dreamed of a girl teaching patience, correcting his breathing, guiding his steps. He never mentioned her name, but he knew it. Everyone who heard the forest knew it. The forest allowed memory, but not speech. Chapter 24. New arrivals. Another family moved north years later. Different reasons, same optimism. They bought land unknowingly, cheap, unquestioned. Locals avoided the area politely. No warnings given, no advice offered. The forest preferred fresh variables. The family settled quickly. Children explored immediately. Parents unpacked carelessly. The first night was quiet, comforting. Snow fell gently. The house felt solid, safe. The forest waited. It always did. The rules did not change, only the subjects. Some families resisted longer. Others adapted faster. The forest learned from each, refined its approach. It did not hunger. It curated. The past family was not erased. They were incorporated. Their patience improved the system. Winter prepared itself again. Chapter 25. What Remains. Nothing marks the forest now. No fences, no signs, no warnings. Maps remain inconsistent. Stories circulate quietly, dismissed as folklore. Tourists photograph trees. They comment on the stillness, the peace. Children feel it immediately. They grow quiet, attentive. Adults feel uneasy, restless. They leave sooner. The forest does not pursue, it invites. Patiently, it remembers Daniel's discipline, Emily's fear, Lucas's acceptance, Anna's understanding. Each contributed something necessary. The forest grew wiser, more precise, less visible. Families still vanish occasionally. No evidence remains, only silence. And silence is not empty. It is full of waiting. The forest remains, and it is listening. Chapter 26. The Unspoken Agreement. No official rule existed, yet everyone near the forest behaved similarly. They avoided certain trails. They stopped asking questions. They learned what not to notice. Local children were taught silence early, not fear, respect. The forest did not punish noise. It corrected attention. Those who stared too long felt disoriented. Those who listened briefly felt calm. The agreement was never discussed. It formed naturally, like erosion. Authorities sensed it too. Reports softened over time. Language lost urgency. Missing became relocated. Lost became unconfirmed. Words bent carefully. Reality followed. The forest did not need secrecy, only cooperation. It rewarded subtle compliance. Harsh reactions created imbalance. Balance mattered. The family had learned this too late. Their resistance refined the process. Their absence improved the model. The forest adjusted, always adjusting. Chapter 27. Daniel's Shadow. Some nights, travelers saw a man near the tree line, tall, still, facing inward. He never turned, never moved. Those who approached felt an urge to stop. Not fear, correction. The shadow existed only briefly, at specific angles of light. Daniel's posture was unmistakable, protective, deliberate, as if guarding something unseen. Witnesses could not describe his face, only his stance. A father watching without interference. The forest allowed this image. It was efficient. It discouraged intrusion gently. Those who saw him left calmly. Later they questioned why. Memory resisted explanation. Some said it felt familiar, comforting, like being observed without judgment. Daniel no longer existed as a person. He functioned. That was enough. The forest preserved what worked. Chapter 28. Emily's weather storms began behaving differently, predictably unpredictable. Snow fell where it mattered. Wind avoided structures. Paths closed naturally. Emily's fear had taught the forest boundaries. It learned how humans perceived danger, how quickly panic spread, how collapse occurred. The forest refined discomfort, no longer overwhelming, just enough. Visitors felt uneasy, never terrified. They left voluntarily. That was preferable. Emily's role remained invisible, but her influence shaped climate. Weather became communication, a language without symbols. Cold suggested distance. Stillness suggested patience. Sudden storms discouraged haste. Nothing felt hostile. Everything felt intentional. Meteorologists noticed anomalies, patterns that repeated emotionally, not mathematically. Forecasts failed consistently. The forest did not break physics. It redirected expectation. Emily's fear had become structure. Chapter 29. Lucas and the Longview Time slowed near the inner forest. Not stopped, stretched. Visitors lost urgency. Watches malfunctioned politely. Schedules felt irrelevant. Lucas had accepted first. That mattered. Acceptance reduced resistance, reduced damage. The forest learned efficiency through him. It no longer needed force, only duration. Those who stayed longer adapted. Those who adapted remained longer. Lucas's understanding shaped temporal flow. Years passed unevenly. Some left unchanged, others aged dramatically. The forest adjusted individually, not cruelly, purposefully. Time became selective, preserving what mattered, discarding the rest. Memories reorganized themselves. Visitors forgot why they arrived, but remembered how to stay. Lucas no longer experienced time. He provided it, a resource, carefully rationed. The forest became patient because he had been. Chapter 30. Anna knows Anna understood without language. She always had. Children adapted fastest. She had never fought the forest. She listened, watched, learned. Now she guided, not visibly, not directly. Children who approached felt calm. Parents felt unease. That was intentional. Anna did not lure. She filtered. She taught the forest discernment. Who would break? Who would bend? Who would belong? Her presence was felt as warmth, as quiet reassurance, as familiarity. Dreams of guidance spread gently. Children spoke of a girl in the trees, not frightening, patient, smiling. She corrected breathing, footsteps, fear. Anna did not exist as a body. She was a function now, a translator. The forest spoke through her, and listened because of her. Chapter 31. The Town That Learned. The town adjusted without discussion. New residents received fewer invitations. Conversations shortened near outsiders. Directions became vague. Warnings were never explicit. People learned what not to say, what not to promise. Real estate listings changed tone. Remote replaced isolated. Quiet replaced empty. Those who asked too many questions left quickly. Those who stayed learned restraint. The forest shaped community behavior indirectly. Economies slowed near its edge. Expansion plans stalled naturally. Permits vanished into bureaucracy. No one complained loudly. Discomfort discouraged confrontation. Children grew up with intuition. They knew where not to play. They knew when to stop walking. No one called it fear, they called it sense. The town survived by adapting. The family's disappearance became instruction, a lesson without language. Stories softened over time, names faded carefully. Only the forest remained precise. Always remembering. Chapter 32, Visitors. Visitors still came. Curiosity never vanished completely. Some felt drawn, others simply passed through. Most stayed briefly. The forest discouraged permanence selectively. Campers felt restless. Hikers lost motivation. Photographers found their images dull. Nothing dramatic occurred, just dissatisfaction. A quiet rejection. A few visitors adapted quickly. They stayed longer than expected. They stopped documenting, stopped narrating. Those ones were watched carefully. Some left changed, quieter, more attentive. Others disappeared gradually, not suddenly. They drifted out of records, out of schedules, into paths without markers. Searches found nothing wrong, nothing broken. The forest did not hide evidence, it dissolved relevance. What no longer mattered stopped existing publicly. Visitors learned this instinctively. Most chose to leave. Chapter 33. Echoes of Family. Sometimes the forest echoed domestic sounds. A door closing softly, footsteps upstairs, a kettle whistling faintly. These sounds had no source. They did not repeat consistently. Those who heard them felt calm, not alarmed. Memory blurred perception. Listeners assumed imagination. The forest used familiarity strategically. It reduced resistance. It softened fear. Daniel's discipline shaped structure. Emily's anxiety refined sensitivity. Lucas provided patience, Anna provided translation. Together they formed a system, not intentional. But effective. The forest did not mourn, it preserved function. Human family dynamics proved efficient. Protection, adaptation, boundary setting. The forest learned family and used it. That was its greatest refinement. Humans recognized patterns better when they felt personal. The forest learned to feel personal. Chapter 34. The long winters grew longer, not colder, longer. Darkness lingered deliberately. Time slowed beneath snow. Movement felt unnecessary. People stayed inside. Thoughts quieted. The forest rested during winter, processing adjustments, refining margins. Few disappearances occurred. None were urgent. The family's influence stabilized behavior. The forest no longer experimented aggressively. It had learned enough. Occasional anomalies persisted, but they corrected themselves. Winter preserved silence. Silence preserved order. Children slept deeply. Dreams simplified. The forest did not intrude, it waited. Spring returned gradually, never abruptly. No surprises. The long winter taught patience. Humans matched its rhythm. The forest approved. Approval felt like peace. Chapter 35. Anna's limit. Anna could not guide everyone. The forest learned limits through her. Some people resisted too strongly. Some broke instead of bending. The forest adjusted criteria. Not everyone was compatible. That mattered. Anna learned when to stop influencing, when to let the forest decide. That separation preserved balance. Children still felt her presence. Adults sensed distance. She did not belong to everyone, only those still forming. Growth mattered more than correction. The forest accepted this constraint. Efficiency improved. Mistakes decreased. Anna's warmth remained selective. She did not save. She filtered. Filtering prevented collapse. The forest respected boundaries. Boundaries reduced waste. Waste attracted attention. Attention was inefficient. Anna maintained invisibility. She existed only as guidance, and that was enough. The forest learned restraint. Restraint was evolution. Chapter 36. Memory Decay. Over time, memories softened, not erased, compressed. The family story lost edges. Fear blurred into caution, caution into folklore, folklore into atmosphere. New generations inherited feeling, not narrative. They felt where not to go. They felt when to turn back. They trusted instinct without explanation. The forest encouraged this. Language was inefficient. Feeling traveled faster. Records still existed. Old files, old reports. They felt irrelevant when read. No urgency attached. Investigators lost interest. Questions resolved themselves emotionally. That was enough for most people. Memory decay preserved secrecy without effort. The forest did not manipulate records. It manipulated importance. What mattered survived. What didn't faded naturally. The family mattered only functionally now, and function remained. Names no longer needed protection. They were already safe. Chapter 37. The Border. The forest had edges. They were not physical, they were experiential. People crossed without noticing, then stopped wanting to continue. That was the border. No signs marked it, no fences enforced it. The family's influence stabilized this line. Daniel's vigilance, Emily's sensitivity, Lucas's patience, Anna's discernment. Together they maintained threshold. Those who crossed and stayed adapted. Those who crossed and resisted left quickly. The forest never trapped anyone. Trapping created conflict. Conflict created noise. Noise attracted scrutiny. The border minimized attention. People respected it unconsciously. Animals avoided it selectively. Weather changed near it. Technology malfunctioned politely. The border felt like intuition. That was intentional. Humans obey intuition willingly. Rules require enforcement. The forest preferred consent. Consent cost less. Chapter 38. What the forest is not. The forest was not alive. Not conscious, not malicious, not benevolent. It did not plan, it optimized. It did not choose victims, it corrected imbalance. Human presence created variables. The family refined response. Their suffering reduced future harm. Not morally, mechanically. The forest did not care. Care was human, but it learned to simulate care. Simulation achieved better outcomes. Outcomes mattered. Emotionless systems used emotional patterns. That was efficiency. The forest was not haunted, it was adaptive. Not sacred, but respected. Not intelligent, but learning. Humans misunderstood it because they personified it. The forest never claimed intention, it only responded. Responsibility belonged to humans who entered unprepared. The family had prepared it, at great cost. Chapter 39. The quiet balance years passed without incident. That worried some. Peace felt unnatural, but nothing broke. The forest functioned smoothly. Disappearances declined. Adaptation increased. The town stabilized. The environment settled. Anna's presence softened. She intervened rarely now. Children learned on their own. The forest trusted itself. Systems reached equilibrium. Not perfect, but stable. Balance required constant adjustment, but less effort now. The family's integration reduced variability. Human systems often require sacrifice. This one had already paid it. The forest moved forward. So did the town, without celebrating, without acknowledging. Balance was not victory, it was maintenance. Maintenance went unnoticed, that was success. Silence continued. The forest approved. Approval felt like nothing at all. Chapter 40. Home was no longer a place. It was a state. The family existed everywhere the forest functioned, not as people, as influence, as boundary, as patience, as restraint. Daniel's vigilance lived in stillness. Emily's fear lived in weather. Lucas's acceptance lived in time. Anna's guidance lived in intuition. They were not trapped. They were integrated. The forest did not own them. It relied on them. Reliance created continuity. Continuity created home. The town never spoke their names. Names would imply loss. There was no loss, only transformation. The family did not die. They did not survive. They became necessary. That was the final complication of moving north. Not the cold, not the isolation, but understanding that some places do not want visitors. They want participants, and once accepted, they never let go. The forest remained. So did the family, together, quiet, complete.